Hi, Sheila Keeter here, teacher for inclusion. I wanted to start off by letting you know, because I've done about 25 videos and I haven't mentioned that I have a blog that's Teacher for Inclusion, as well as a Teachers Pay Teacher store that is Teacher for Inclusion. So if you ever want to check those things out, just go to those sites and look up Teacher for Inclusion or look up Teacher for Inclusion blog site. You can look up Sheila Keeter on that one as well. So today we're going to talk about anti-racist curriculum. And I want to start off by reading a quote from Michelle Obama. Race and racism is a reality that so many of us grow up learning to just deal with. But if we ever hope to move past it, it can't just be on people of color to deal with it. It's up to all of us, Black, white, everyone, no matter how well-meaning we think we might be, to do the honest, uncomfortable work of rooting it out. Okay, so that is my first point, which is regardless of your race or background, it's important that as teachers, we all do the work for anti-racist curriculum. So I'm going to go ahead and start off by putting up an assignment that I do with my students for anti-racist curriculum. It's an anti-racist workbook. As you can see here, it's a digital assignment. And students start by looking at the different categories of social identity. From there, we look at personal identity. So starting with very simple things like favorite color, sound, pastime, sport, etc. Then we look at values, and students will choose 7 values, and then they narrow it down to 3 values that are important to them. And here I have it very explicitly listed so they can write it out. Then we look at the difference between race and ethnicity, because these topics can be very confusing for students, especially younger students. And you can do this and adapt it anywhere from elementary school through middle school through high school. It's easiest to start with the youngest, right? Then they create an anti-racist vision. What would that look like? What would it be? How would our world be without racism? And they write that down. Then they talk about what they know about racism and power. We look at power in different institutions like government, the media, fame, movie industry, business, housing, banks, education, etc. Then we talk about how diverse their universe is. So their family members, their closest friends, the neighbors that they live near, their doctor, their dentist, most of their teachers, their principal, other people in their class. What kind of curriculum or authors, what are the author's background of who you're studying right now? And then they reflect on that. It's important throughout anti-racist curriculum that you do creative assignments. You can even do mindfulness assignments or social emotional learning assignments, because it can be a daunting task for different groups of people for many reasons. We look at our history. What are the things that would stay in our history? What are the things we would leave out? And I'm going to skip some of this or it will take too long. Here's another creative assignment. Draw a short comic using your superpowers to speak up and stand up for anti-racism. Make a plan and be ready. These scenarios are extremely important because you need to set them up and have them prepared to deal with racism. So you give them scenarios like, what if your teacher made a racist comment? What if your best friend told a racist joke? How are you going to respond? What's a healthy, positive way to respond to that toxicity? And then as a class, you come up with different scenarios that might occur. And students will have a lot of examples of their own that they have had to face in the past. So it's great to have them share their scenarios. Here are some more creative assignments, which I'm going to go ahead and skip. This is kind of a cool one to have a anti-racist toolbox. So what are the items you would put in if you are upset over some situation that deals with racism, and have those items on you, like chocolate water, your cell phone to text, a friend, a meditation book, a journal, a pencil. We talk about any action they have taken before. And typically at this age, there isn't a lot, and that's okay. And it's good to let them know that it's okay and that we're looking at the future. Here's a more specific scenario that will connect to them is, was there a time you wish you took action or spoke up or said something but didn't? And then we talk about what makes them nervous, and they can talk about the things that they hear or see on the news, because some of them, or a lot of them, that's the only exposure they get to responding is by protesting violently or in a perceived violent manner. So it's important that they understand that there's other ways of responding to racism. Take care of yourself, teach them about self-care, and that's where the social emotional learning can come in. Here's some more creative assignments. Your creative voice, write a letter, poem, or song to let others hear your voice. And then there's a section for notes. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this. The anti-racism curriculum is really important. It's important that we all come together and work on it. It's important to try to keep it as light as possible, but make sure they understand that this is very serious and that kindness isn't enough. It's going to take a lot of work. Okay, friends, well, thank you. And I think we can do this if we all do it together. Have a wonderful day.